Hello, my name is Dr. Burton Feinerman. I am a physician scientist focusing on stem cell and gene therapies. I was born 88 years ago in New York City, and I studied, went to high school and college and New York Medical College, and subsequently I moved out to the Midwest, where I finished my training at the famous Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. It was at that point that I was drafted into the U.S. Army, where I served for 3 years in Western Germany. I have practiced medicine for 63 years, but in the last 17 years, I have devoted myself completely to doing stem cell and gene therapies. I can recall in my childhood what a big difference things were. Infectious diseases were the #1 killer in those days. And I myself had a whooping cough. I had measles, mumps, German measles, and chickenpox. Things that kids don't get anymore, thank God. Fortunately, with the help of Jonas Salk and his wonderful vaccine, I did not get polio, and I had received vaccines against diphtheria and tetanus. But those common diseases that I just mentioned, I did have throughout childhood. And I also grew up in a period of time where there were no antibiotics. It wasn't until 1945 that penicillin came out and was available at the very end of World War II. And that, of course, ensued a revolution of all types of antibiotics that have helped protect millions of people against serious infections like pneumonia and bronchitis, infections in the blood like sepsis, and serious infections like in the brain like meningitis. But we still are living in an ever-changing world of science and medicine. I can recall going back over 50 years when a brilliant physician scientist, Steven Rosenberg at the National Cancer Institute, proclaimed that we should be studying the genetic expression of cancer and also employing cancer immunotherapy. And here's this eminent person, and despite all his brilliance, he couldn't convince other doctors to employ his ideas. And it wasn't only until the last 3 years that we started employing the methods that Dr. Steven Rosenberg strongly recommended. So I mention that because we still are faced with resistance both from the medical community and the lack of proper marketing of this information to the general population, how stem cells and gene therapy can restore human dignity and get rid of these horrible diseases like ALS and Parkinson and Alzheimer's, autism, traumatic brain injury, and how and even heart disease can be challenged very effectively now by introducing stem cells into people who have suffered a heart attack or have chronic heart failure, or even as a preventive. Just yesterday, I had a PET scan done of my heart, and which is a very invasive but meaningful study. And after looking over all the reports following my PET scan of the heart, my doctor said that I had the heart of a 40-year-old. And so preventive medicine can help a lot. And this is particularly true. It was only just a few years ago that the human genome was discovered. And as a result of that, we have now materials, products, and methods where we can challenge and probably cure just about every genetic disease known to mankind, even the very rare ones. And so I'm talking about things like cystic fibrosis, alpha antitrypsin deficiency, Huntington disease, Tay-Sachs disease, just among thousands that can now be properly treated and in many instances cured. So, and it can be done in very simple ways. The same thing is true about many diseases. For example, I noticed that my kidney function was beginning to decrease. And so I went to the nephrologist and I asked him, well, what can you do? He says, well, we watch your sodium, your potassium, your fluid intake. And I said, well, I do all of that. Well, and he says, well, if things get worse, we put you on dialysis. Well, that's a heck of an answer. I don't want to be on dialysis. That's not something that it's very time-consuming, invasive of your life, and uncomfortable. And so I myself, seeing that I was getting nowhere with local nephrologists, I treated myself. I had an interventional radiologist simply pass a catheter from my upper thigh, and under direct X-ray imaging, he was able to watch that catheter go up to first my right kidney and my left kidney, and in each instance, my associates administered autologous, meaning from my body, mesenchymal stem cells from my abdominal fat, and also from my bone marrow. And now my kidney function tests are normal. And so the same thing can be done with those that suffer from type 1 diabetes. These patients are insulin dependent, and they have to give themselves anywhere from 4 to 6 injections a day of insulin, and then some unfortunately have to live with an insulin pump 24 hours a day. And so the same procedure that I described, where you, with an interventional radiologist, you pass a catheter up to the pancreas and introduce pancreatic islet stem cells that produce insulin, the same thing can be done for those people. So, yet I find that the general public is not well informed about this. And if they go to their family doctor, internist, or subspecialist, they may be told, oh, that's just experimental, and rather than giving them a clearer pictures. And frankly, it's simply because the doctors don't know much about stem cells either. And so, even in the most recent of times, even though I had developed what I thought was a great treatment for cystic fibrosis using stem cells and gene therapy, I perfected it further with with my association with Dr. Alan Goldstein from George Washington University, in which we add thymosin, which is immunomodulatory and is able to eliminate all types of serious bacterial infections like Pseudomonas or Staphylococcus, and as well as all kinds of viruses or fungal infections. And so this is another aspect that one can go. And when I began to think about it, I realized, hey, we can add thymosin to my treatment for alpha antitrypsin deficiency, and it also occurred to me that I can use this especially to treat chronic Lyme's disease. So the things go on, and I believe that it's important for the general public, both in the United States and worldwide, to become more knowledgeable and aware of the wonderful successes that can be achieved with the use of stem cell and gene therapies. And so if you want to be a genius like me at the age of 88, follow my lead, and also it's my intention that I want to live until 100 and above.